Welcome back and Happy New Year. And let's start with going through any action items that we took um, from the last meeting that we had. Just looking through that list and bear with me as we also do that on IRC. All right, we had a few, looks like. So we are going to follow up on the unmaintained branches in a separate topic. And we had some movement around the election and including, I mean, we've gone ahead and merged some patches. So we have defined some dates. We'll follow up on that as well as a separate topic. And there was the CI migration to Ubuntu Noble, that which happens to be a separate topic again. A couple of AIs with respect to that. And yeah, that is what I'm seeing on the meeting notes. Dimitri, Gansham, anyone else that took any other action items?
No, I don't think we have any really actionable items. Only thing so there was a discussion again raised about like OpenStack.team state and what we can improve if should drop our team in. And uh, um, yeah, my plan was actually to write down this part, but I cleanly forgot with holidays. Um, and eventually we really need to somehow address this unmaintained or well repositories or projects without any clear maintenance and no core reviewers, um, especially ones that are required for like market or something like that,
Hmm.
like docs, manuals, and whatsoever. Um, and this has already been raised by Tom and Kadoy some time ago. But probably I will able to. I had some ideas how to come with suggestion to for technical community to being able to merge things if necessary and if required, and with that not being kind of fully responsible for the repository and trying to find a maintainer or assigner like co-reviewer or volunteer, so to say. But I haven't formulated this yet. So
Uh, is this me or Dimitri? I think you broke up a little bit at the end.
I think I lost him as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was me too. So
yeah, I didn't said anything too much important. I think my internet connection is lagging, but anyway, I think we really need to address this pain point somehow
Okay. If I get that right, you
without taking.
broke up again and you're back. Maybe, Dimitri, can you add that AI to the IRC channel?
Let me do.
All right. Anything else besides these? All right. If not, let's move on to the next topic. We don't have Frickler here, but we had a topic on the unmaintained branches. Does anyone want to hazard the update if you've been following those things?
I think we discussed this in last meeting too. So there are Victoria end of life changes are proposed by Frickler, and there is a I think -1 from Elod that their company wanted to maintain. So discussion going on there, like what all branches they would like to maintain, or what all we can move it to UL, all those stuffs.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if anything else we need to discuss or do anything from TC side.
I think it was the deadline aspect, right? So we had a 30-day.
Oh, yeah. Deadline is there. 30th Jan, I think requirement put it there, which is,
Okay.
but we have that, the feedback from Elod. So it's not like we can just EUL those branches if obviously they wanted to maintain. So that's early feedback we already got before deadline.
Makes sense. And so what we want Elot to do is submit another change to remove this, or basically tell us which repositories.
Yeah, because because that Frickler change is doing UL of all those, so it's not doesn't make sense to on top of that submit change. It can be like he can update the patches to exclude all those project or repository which Elod wanted to maintain.
Yeah.
So something like that will be easy to do. So we can discuss that on the change, what will be the easy way to do it, but it makes sense to, exclude the project which we have the volunteers to maintain.
Makes sense.
And other thing, yeah, obviously he started with the Victoria, so obviously if they are volunteer to maintain Victoria, so all those other branches like Yoga, Zed, Gina, all those will be maintained by them because of our backport policy going via one by one stable branches. So it's not like they only maintain Victoria, but we can EOL the Jet branch of the same repository. So that's a
We
complete
could,
set.
right? We were going to do that with Slurp and non-Slurp releases anyway. So if
With
they
Slurp, non-Slurp, we can that's in unmaintained if they do. So the backport will be only from Slurp to
Slurp.
Slurp, which are in unmaintained, which is fine. But these are pre-Slurp, and I mean, we should not do like, the Z is going UL, but Victoria and yeah, I mean, it's unmaintained, so it's not like the same policy we can apply as we do for stable branch, but something easy is to maintain throughout,
Yeah.
right? But that is something, yeah, we can discuss if there is any, there are the volunteer for say Victoria branch, but not volunteer for say Yoga or Z, so we can UL them. If there is no objection, we can do.
Yeah.
But we have to check with Elo, who is the only volunteer currently to keep the Victoria branches. So if their goal is to maintain throughout Victoria or just Victoria, I'm sure it will be throughout the Victoria till Victoria. I mean. And yeah, I asked in Merit also like what all specific project he would like to maintain, or it's just a complete set. So it like we were on holidays, vacation, so maybe he will come back and reply there.
Yes.
I think that's all I know, but if you'd like to keep the topic, because Frickler is not here in video call, so maybe we can keep this topic for till next meeting, and if anything specific from him, what he wanted to discuss, we can do next meeting.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Anything else from anybody else on this topic? All right, let's move on. The next one is on election and what's going on with that. So I think just before the holidays, we've merged some patches on the election repo. And since Slavik is here, he can probably give us an update on what's going on at the moment, perhaps.
To be honest, I haven't checked it today, and I just came back today, so I don't have any updates. I will need to catch up with all the stuff there. Sorry for that, but I don't have any updates for today yet.
Okay, no problem. Sorry about putting you on the spot there. So
No, no
let's.
problem, no problem. I was just on the PTO for last almost 3 weeks, so I didn't
The
catch up with everything yet.
election dates are
I think they
finalized,
are
right?
merged. Yes, they are merged for
So
sure. Yeah.
they're on the site too.
Hmm.
So only thing is, as Gautam, you have the patch up in TC to make that election voting or polling like more than 2 weeks. So do we want to implement that in this election or next election? What's your plan?
So we have some time to do that in this election.
Yes, but as election dates are published already, so I'm just wondering if that will create confusion or will that be okay?
uh, b-
Because
mm.
there is no objection on your proposal. I think it looks good for most of TC member. Uh,
And this was my bad. I think this has the requisite votes. I just was hoping to have merged this when we had that this thing. But yeah, looks like no objection. So we can go ahead and merge this. Um, but the question remains, yes, that whether we want to try to do this for this election or the next one.
Yeah, maybe we
Um,
can, yeah, you can discuss maybe with the election official Slavik and Ian, so what they think.
okay.
Like the only thing is like election dates are published. I mean, there should not be an issue in change, but in case they think
Amy?
Yeah, I think my one question being that, as Gansham has pointed out, that we've already published the dates, are there any holidays that we might run into if we do hold the elections as scheduled, or would we run into anything if we extended the election? So those are some things to take into consideration before making that decision.
That's actually an NP problem to solve, honestly. NP problem, sorry, to solve honestly, because in between the world there are many holidays, and for example, for example for September elections, in general it's difficult for the open folks to look at that because of that. So honestly, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, the most common excuse for I didn't get my nomination in time has been I was on PTO, the holiday, etc. That's the only reason why I'm really pointing it out.
Yeah, the only one I think that I was checking is Chinese New Year. I'm not sure exactly when, but in Google it's showing Jan 21st to Feb 20th. I don't know like how long holidays they have, but maybe that is something we can check if our election going into that period.
Honestly, except notifying, for example, the existing PTL folks. I don't know. I don't know what we could be doing, but yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, we've merged a patch, but we've not done much else, right? Like we've not kicked off the elections. There is no email that's gone out to the thing saying here is a bunch of dates. We've not done the schedule update on the calendar. So we've got a couple of things to do, and like you said, we can try to give them as much advance notice. We still have a month before any of these dates, I think, because the first date we have out there is the nomination period, which is the 12th of February. So if folks want to put in their nominations earlier, I think that should be fine. If the election officials are going to go create those folders and things like that, it allows people to do that even before they step into any holidays. That might be a something we could do. I know this is unorthodox to have nominations before, but if we have like a wide set of holidays like the Chinese New Year, for instance, you'll have a whole swath of people that'll not be checking their computers during that time.
Yeah, we usually didn't reject any early nomination. The after deadline, obviously, we rejected. But yeah, that can be merged like whenever like nomination are open, but there is no issue in proposing the nomination and making a note like, okay, I'm going to holiday for this, so I'm just doing early nomination.
Yeah,
If CI and everything pass, and that can be merged when the nomination start.
makes sense.
So,
And Jeremy is just telling us that the CI will fail because of the nomination period dates.
okay, that yeah, I mean, as long as their foundation ID and the APC thing are valid, you can just do recheck and it will work.
Mhm.
But at least we'll get to know, okay, there's some volunteer is there, so we know that their leader is coming up. There's some paperwork we can obviously adjust if they are on holiday.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so I suppose we can chat with Ian and Slavik on the election channel on how to get these other things done. And we seem to be okay with the early nominations, except we're going to have to recheck and merge them when the nomination period actually kicks in case there are folks that will avail that. We still don't know, given I don't think we know the exact dates when folks are going to be off anyway. Sorry, yeah. All right, we can chat about this on the election channel. Anything else? Any other concerns? All right. And yet the fourth thing would be to follow up on whether we can make the date changes during this cycle. I'll check on the votes and see if that patch can merge. If you haven't already looked, the link to that patch is on IRC, where we are asking that we allow for 2+ weeks for elections. I think a majority of us have taken a look and like the proposal, so we should be able to go ahead and merge that, and then we'll leave it up to the election officials to decide. But we'll have an update next week on that. All right. If there's nothing else on the topic, let's move on to the next topic. Oh yeah, thanks. Jeremy says that there is an open info newsletter that we could advertise these things on as well. All right. Let's move on to the next topic, which is an update on the CI migration to Ubuntu Noble.
Yeah, so there is not much update, but one progress is that Clark has completed those PBR thing for setup tool, and I think that is must. There are a lot of other proposal also he split from the original change, but for noble migration, the thing we need for of that setup tool thing is all good. But there are still some project specific talks of failure. Some I need to check again. So the docs of migration still pending, but progress is going forward. And there are, I think, 3 projects still failing for Noble. That is also not much progress due to holidays. So I'll follow up on those this week and see where we are.
Yeah, for PBR specifically, there was a change that was kind of like a fixed CI, remove deprecated code, and it did like 2 other things, I think. And the idea I had was like, let's just focus on fixing the CI stuff. So PBR's testing all runs on Noble just fine now. With the idea being that we can continue to follow up with the other stuff, and I have pushed additional changes to kind of do some of that. Some of them have merged, but Jeremy and I are currently working through some testing before we publish a real release of PBR with those updates, just because PBR has kind of broad impact, and so we kind of want to make sure that it works the way we expect before we tag a real release. So one of the ideas there is we would tag a beta release, and then some projects could explicitly opt into using that beta release and just make sure it sanity checks and looks good. But yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I think that's the overall on migration.
Ghanshyam, there was something about Skyline jobs failing and reaching out to the Skyline folks.
Yeah, the Skyline API server, there is no progress. So thing is like there is no response when I saw on the master branch CI is failing, and try to ping them on IRC mailing list, Garrett. Maybe it was holiday, but we pinged them like well advanced before holiday also. So let's see if like in this month we can get a response from Skyline team. But my worry is about the release
Yeah.
that before milestone 2, we have to take decision if, in case there are no maintainer or project is almost inactive. But milestone 2 is this week, right?
It is this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can send an email to them again because on IRC, I don't think they are available. And we can see. I mean, it's not be inactive. It's just about whether they are paying the attention to gate the reviews or not.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that update. Since we're following on this week after week, I can push this out for next week as well. And thank you, Jeremy and Clark, for the update on PBR. Anything else for this topic? All right. Let's move on to the gate topic. I know it's the first week of the new year. I am fairly certain, like, people are probably not paying attention to jobs and so on. But is there anything that's concerning at the moment?
Yeah, I didn't notice anything specific, but yeah, I didn't check much also during holidays.
Last time I was looking, because I also went back only yesterday, but last time I haven't found any problem yet. Maybe some issue, as I said last time, due to network problems on the network because of the guest, but it was a December issue already, so I don't know.
I think that Docker Hub rate limit issues keep affecting certain projects that rely on it. Just calling out over the break, there were like 2 different people from the OpenStack Helm project that brought it up with us, and I mean, we basically told them the same thing twice, that we can't control those rate limits, and unfortunately, the way the rate limits are implemented, they kind of make our caching mirror setup, their caching proxy, less effective. And so really the best thing is probably to move away from Docker if you can. And so there's kind of effort all over the place along those lines. Like OpenDev is changing how we run containers so that we can pull stuff from Quay and so on. So mostly just to be aware of that. It's continuing to be a problem.
Thank you. Anything else? I know not everyone stepped away through the holidays, but a lot of people did. But if everything didn't fall over, even with the reduced workforce, I think we're doing a great job.
We accidented Garrett because we thought it was safe to restart to pick up a. Anyway, Garrett, it's a problem that we've discovered, and I need to bring up upstream. But basically, it uses H2 databases as a caching system, and H2 databases have backing files on disk, and those files basically grow indefinitely. And we had startup issues because it was trying to trim the contents of that database, and it was like 200 gigabytes large, and it was slow, and it was anyway. We figured it out, and we have a workaround, which is basically you just move those files away or delete them. They're caches; they're not important. Then Garrett
it had a timeout too, right?
So
it was being aborted partway through, wasn't it?
No, well, so the database stuff was not being aborted, but everything that relies on that database, like opening a change, operations like that, those were being aborted because they couldn't get the lock on the database because the database was busy being edited. So yeah, there was a bunch of fallout, and then it led to HTTP timeouts, and yeah, it was a whole mess. We thought it would be fine. We just restarted Garrett like a week prior, and it was fine. And anyway, we didn't change the version of Garrett or any, like it was just restart Garrett. Nope. But anyway, it's a Garrett bug. We need to figure out upstream with them how they can like manage their caches better.
So you had to manually trim some of these files or drop these caches?
Yeah, we basically deleted the H2 database files, and then Garrett, instead of trying to manage a 221 gigabyte database, it just creates a new file that's 1,000 kilobytes large and moves on with its life. So, I mean, I guess there may have been some slowness on startup because it has to repopulate the cache, but that's better than not working at all because the cache is too big.
Yeah, the cold cache impact was less than the impact from trying to trim the cache.
Yeah. So, but other than that, yeah, I didn't notice any problems over the holidays.
Great. Thank you. All right. I think we can move on to the next topic here, and that's the TC tracker. Just a reminder here that this thing exists, and I guess we have been following up on individual status elsewhere. But if you own anything over here, please do update it, and we can follow up on that next week. Is there anything that that you can share an update about today? Sounds like not. Okay, we've got quite some time for open discussion today.
I've got a quick one. If anyone is going to FOSDEM first weekend of February, there will be an OpenStack birthday party on Saturday night at the Open Infra Happy Hour. And also we have a OpenStack Birds of a Feather session that I've been told will get in, but is not on the schedule yet. So just information if anyone's at FOSDEM.
I will be there. I'm already subscribed to this event on Saturday, so we'll see there.
All right. And I'll let you know when the Birds of a Feather session is going to be.
Thanks.
I would love to travel there, but unfortunately, no.
How far is it from you?
Good question. I would say that depends on whether I need to go by traveling by. So I'm pretty done today. I mean, maybe 5 hours, I guess.
Oh, that's farther than I thought.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
Of course, that's from me to Dallas.
If the FOSDEM discussion is, because I had something completely separate, so
yeah, I think that's it.
Else, yeah. I just wanted to mention that in our weekly community managers powwow, we were looking at the recent mailing list threads on OpenStack Discuss about Octavia patches. There have been a couple. Just a heads up that it looks like things may be getting kind of slow with Octavia reviewing changes over the course of 2024. So if they weren't on the TC's radar for a team that is starting to slow down a bit, maybe take a closer look. There were a few examples. There was another one that somebody brought up on December 25th in their IRC channel too, trying to get some feedback on, but a number of changes that we looked at specifically that were fixing bugs that were reported but had no feedback from core reviewers, or it took 6 months to get a core reviewer to plus to a change that had been passing in CI. Changes that sat for a year unacknowledged by the core review team until they fell into merge conflict, that sort of thing. So Octavia may need some help, is I guess the summary.
Not just Octavia, I think across the board, not responding to people and letting patches kind of sit there like that, especially from newer folks, is a harm to the overall OpenStack project.
Absolutely.
So,
we were discussing it in the context of the Bridging the Gap effort that we've been kind of pushing on, and that's it definitely falls into that category of like places where we might be able to better communicate to potential contributors, even if we don't have the bandwidth to look at their changes, letting them know that we don't have the bandwidth to look at their changes, or that we're not looking at their changes because the priority on those is lower than what the team of limited capacity already has on its plate, etc. I mean, I'm sure Octavia is not the only example of this, but it is one that came up just within the last several days on the mailing list. So it was sort of front of mind. and a team that was, previously one of the more actively developed projects within OpenStack. So its shift in attention to reviews might be maybe not surprising, but at least a new data point.
I can try to talk with Octavia PTL Gregory, who is in my team internally, and the other core reviewers from this team. But as far as I know, I mean, I know that Octavia team is pretty small currently, so but I can check with them.
Yeah, it's not like they are like not responding. Means they have merged few of my RBAC changes. It's also like took time, but I keep pinging them on IRC back and forth. So maybe that helped. But I agree with the overall concern. Like for new contributor or someone new, they don't know people or IRC or much. It will be difficult for them, to get the things merged. So
Yeah, the December 25th IRC message was also sort of a memory of another reminiscent of a memory of another situation in the Nova IRC channel, I guess a year or two ago, where someone was trying to get the attention of core reviewers and did it on like December 25th or 26th or something, and that was the only time they really tried to raise the attention of anyone in the Nova IRC channel. And then the change obviously just sat there unacknowledged for even longer, because their one attempt to get people to look at it in IRC was at a time when there would be absolutely no one or nearly no one paying attention there either. But they felt like they had reached out to the team, and obviously we're not seen.
Yeah, I would say, but I know I already discussed that with a few folks. The problem with IRC is that people think that when they ping us, we are discussing I mean, they know that basically the IRC channel is mostly, I think, the fact that some people sometimes discuss in between them, but sometimes also when you ping us, we can then reply to you, but maybe after 1 hour, and it's fine because it's async, right? It's like for Slack or Google or any kind of way. If you really want to discuss with our team, the only way to being sure that you can discuss with us synchronously, I mean, is for our meeting. That's basically, or by the PTG if you want. But if you think that if you ping us, we could be replying to you directly, when unfortunately, no.
Yeah. And I mean, in Octavia's case, the only actual activity in their IRC channel from any of the core review team was in December at least, was during their weekly meetings. And outside of that, they're understandably kind of checked out in December. A lot of people are. So, like, not surprising to me, or to most of us on this call, but, to the random person from who knows what part of the world that had a change that they were trying to bring to the attention of the Octavia team after many months of waiting patiently and not getting feedback in Garrett or on a bug report, is trying on a day when they don't probably realize that there is zero chance of anyone noticing.
there's one more thing on Octavia. I see like there are two IRC channel exist. OpenStack dash Octavia and dash LBAS. I think the LBAS is the one where team is present.
Yeah, the LBAS
Like,
channel is the
yeah,
official one.
I can
The
see some
Octavia
of
channel is the Octavia channel, I don't think is even registered.
Yeah, I still am in that, and I see few of the queries coming December 22nd, November. There are a few queries coming in that Dash Octavia channel too. Should we like just clean up that also?
That's interesting, right? So somebody is just probably expecting that the name of the channel would be the name of the project is the name of the channel.
I
Yeah,
get
that
confused many times. I just check the latest chat where it's going. Every time
Yeah.
I get
yeah.
confused which one is, active.
Yeah, it's I don't think they ever used that channel, or they used it very briefly, but it
Yeah.
was never official, never ended up registered as a channel. We can't really clean that up per se, other than trying to remove all possible references to it, because it's just an organically created channel in an IRC network that we don't operate. So other than people hanging out in there, or actually registering that channel just to post a topic in it that says this is not the Octavia channel, I'm not sure what else can really be done for that.
Yeah.
And obviously,
Yeah.
this would need to be a discussion with the Octavia team.
Mhm.
Yes, let's register it and set the topic.
Yeah.
So redirect. Or at least tell people to go.
Makes sense. Thanks for bringing this up, Jeremy. Anything else? So we are at M2, and in terms of the inactive project stuff, we haven't tagged any this cycle, but we did have uh, discussions regarding checking on Monasca, if I'm not mistaken. I suppose it was around the aspect that we didn't have the noble jobs running. They were broken, and there was no response. So if we were to retire that project, would we have to do this by? I mean, would we have to raise the patch this week?
Yeah, I mean we gave the I think Munasca is still in inactive
Yeah,
list,
it
right?
is. It is
And
inactive.
we gave the extension also 1 cycle, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking their reviews, the Monasca Dash API, and last patch merged on master was 7 months ago. And after that, all CI failing. Not just Noble, but the existing CI is failing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we last time we asked the PTL said like we are going to make it active, but still we don't see any progress. So as per process, it's time to retire, but we have to check with the PTL if they have any plan or
From
if they are okay with retirement.
from a release schedule perspective, it doesn't seem like there's any deadline concern because they're already not included in the release. So
Okay, makes sense.
Or yeah, because just sitting or raising hand for PTL and not doing anything is just extra work for us. And whatever we decide, we should decide before election so that it won't be extra work for election or after election for PTL appointment. And if I'm not wrong, PTL is the only maintainer there.
Yeah.
And there's no one else. And they volunteer to be maintainer, but
yeah, the last release that Manaska coordinator release that Manaska participated in was 2023.2 Bobcat. So it's been a while since they were on the release team's radar anyway.
yeah, I remember they asked when we said we triggered the retirement, they mentioned in mailing list they wanted to create stable branch or something, and we did answer them, but after that no progress from them either of fixing the CI or how they were going to maintain stable branches or so. So there is no response or progress. Because we should not be holding the projects in inactive list for for forever. Like Freezer is a good example where we had that there, but Dimitri is continuously working there, and we know there is someone fixing the CI and all. But for Manaska case, we didn't see any progress.
Yeah. Okay, that we can take that AI on starting a mail thread. I'll do that. But was there any other project? I know we've brought some projects up from time to time that they were not paying attention to broken CI and things like that. Was there anything else that's concerning? We can add that to the next week's
Yeah. So this
discussion as well.
noble migration has been a good check on all those projects. And the only Monasca and Skyline, which
Mhm.
two projects we discussed. Other than that, all those projects CI is green. Either they fixed or they must the fix. So that is a good thing. But these two projects are, without response and CI failing.
I can recall somebody raised in mailing list Masakari, I guess, about event led being broken or something like that. But I frankly haven't checked on project state except that the couple of specs, a couple of patches that were not reviewed also for a while. But
Yeah.
from previous experience, like from previous cycle, once in a while PTL appears and does reviews and fixes. So I'm not sure how much a red flag.
Yeah, at least on Garrett, they did merge the gate failure. There were multiple failure for this noble migration and all. I think the PTL but on mailing list, I'm not sure if they are active or not. At least their CI is green. But if I see there also you have only single maintainer, I think the PTL coming, as Dimitri mentioned, not 100% or very active, but coming up and merging the things at least.
On this, we can follow up next week on the Masakari one because I think there is some update with the eventlet stuff. I'll take a note and I'll bring this up again next week. We are at the hour, so I think we can wrap it up here. Thank you everyone for joining, and see you all on IRC next week.
Thanks. See ya.
Thanks
Thanks all.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.